What's up, everybody? Tanner Larsson here, and welcome back to the Optimized Ecommerce Podcast. Very excited to be here with you guys today for another episode. Today, we are joined by a repeat guest, Mariana Dourado, which I know I said her name wrong, and she hates me for it, but I just can't roll my R's because she's got such a cool sounding last name. So why don't, Mariana, real quick, just say your last name.
Dourado, Mariana Dourado, but it's close.
I can't say that. But Mariana is, as you guys know, if you've been listening for any length of time, she is one of our revenue optimization experts here at BGS. She's been with us for a long time, and she works on our amplified partner stores and helps out in a lot of different areas where it comes to optimizing split testing, running data tests, and just basically scaling large e-commerce stores. So she's got a lot of skill in that area. But today, we're going to back up to a more simple topic that kind of gets neglected. And people don't give it as much value and credibility and impact that it deserves in their business. And that is social proof through reviews. All right. Now, reviews on Amazon, we're all aware, reviews are kind of what gave Amazon its pizzazz in the beginning. People would leave reviews on there. And the first thing you do when you go to an Amazon product is after you see the picture and the price, you scroll to the bottom and you read the reviews. That is just as important on your own e-commerce store, whether it's a Shopify, BigCommerce, WooCommerce, Magento, or whatever platform. But we see a lot of stores, big stores and small stores, not leveraging reviews the right way, or not knowing what to do if they don't have reviews or only have bad reviews or whatever. They just really don't know how to utilize that stuff very well. So Mariana is an expert at how we leverage reviews inside of the BGS revenue optimization framework. And today she's going to walk you through that. So Mariana, thank you for being here, and thank you for allowing me to butcher your name once again.
Thank you. Yeah, sure. It's great to be here. And of course, reviews are one of the most important elements on your website. They are a huge trust factor, so they definitely need a lot of attention there.
Now, with the reviews, obviously, like you said, they're a trust factor, and it's user-generated content, right? But the reason that reviews are so important is because people don't want to buy something where there's an unknown factor. They want to know that other people have been there before them, that have been satisfied, and that, it's legitimate. And reviews just give that extra trust factor and that extra kind of warm, fuzzy feeling before they make the purchase. But that's not always something you can do with every store, or you launch a new product or whatever. Mariana, what do you do when you don't have reviews?
So if a specific product doesn't have any reviews yet, ideally you should hide it until you hide the reviews widget in the review section until you get those reviews, because you don't want to discourage users. You don't want them to feel like, oh, no one has purchased it yet, or if they have purchased, they didn't like it enough to leave a review. So we don't want this kind of thought. But definitely you should focus on getting those reviews so you can incentivize users by offering discounts or things like that. But while you don't have it, you can hide the widget in this section.
And so what we're saying is we're not actually so it doesn't say like 0 stars or doesn't say anything. It's just suppressed, right?
Right. Yeah. We don't want them to see empty stars or no reviews yet, things like that could discourage the purchase.
Yeah. And this is something that we see a lot, especially on newer stores, is they installed a review widget or app, or they using the theme's built-in review functionality, which we don't recommend typically. And that automatically just puts up like 5 empty stars. So it makes it look like your product has a 0-star rating, even though it really just has 0 reviews. And removing reviews, when you remove it, it's instead of it just being there, it's just no longer top of mind. So they may not think about it, and then they just let the product stand on the other elements on your product page. Now, if you have reviews on other products or on your store, there's other ways you can leverage reviews, right?
Right. Yeah, and then you should keep on the products you already have. And the general reviews as well, you can use as social proof on the homepage, for example, or other places. But yeah, we just want to hide them on products that don't have reviews yet.
Now, if this is a product, though, another little side note here is if this is a product that, let's say, maybe it's a new bundle you created of your existing products and it doesn't have any reviews. You can then port the reviews over from the other products that are in that bundle to that review or to that new product, and then let those reviews represent the reviews for the bundle. So they may look at the review and it's like each review talks about one of the different pieces in the bundle. That's totally fine. So, or if you have a store that has a lot of store reviews, but not a lot of specific product reviews, you can use those store reviews on the product page as well. So you have the ability to kind of put them all together. And when you're launching a variation of a product or a bundle of a simpler product that does have reviews or things like that, that's a great way to get started. And then once you actually get enough reviews on that product, you can then pull those other reviews away from it. Now, the next one, Mariana, this is the big one. All right, guys. So this is what everybody kind of freaks out about, and they feel like their world is over when they get a bad review. Now, we know most people, when they get a bad review, they suppress it, right? Because they don't want people to think that there could be a bad review on their product. But there's obviously a better way to do that. So why don't you kind of walk us through all of that?
Sure. So when you have any bad reviews on your product, many people think that they should exclude them, to leave the website with that perfect image, that all the products are flawless and things like that. But when we see a 5-star review product, it typically gives us an impression that it's a fake review or a fake section. So what people really want to see is how the company handled that issue, how they worked on solving the problem. So before you publish the review, you shouldn't hide it, you shouldn't exclude it. Just make sure you respond to that review by showing how you fix that problem, by offering a solution there. Because then people will see that it's worth to try, and that if they have any problems, they can reach out to you and you fix that. Because, well, it can be that there was a shipping delay and that's not your fault. It can be that the product is great, but the user just didn't like it. We know that this can always happen. So people understand that. So more than being worried about hiding the review or not, be worried about solving the problem and showing people you solve it.
And you think about it, guys, when you look at reviews, like nobody expects reviews to be perfect. Because the reviews you read are the bad reviews. You don't look at the 5-star reviews. You want to go see the 3-star and the 2-star and the 1-star. The other, like Mariana said, nobody believes a perfect 5-star rating. If you have all perfect 5 stars, and that's legit, honestly, you should get yourself some bad reviews, in there to help bring your average down a little bit. But again, like Mariana said, it's how you answer it. Everybody knows that nothing is perfect. No product is perfect, and no customer is always satisfied. So they just want to be able to see that, hey, if something happens, like what if I ordered this sweatshirt and man, the material's great, but I wish I got a different size, so I gave it a 3-star. And then the company responded and said, hey, we're glad you love it, but we're happy to exchange it for you if go here and do this, and we'll send you the right size. Well, now if I read that as a customer, I'm like, oh man, I was worried about getting the wrong size. And now I see that they're totally going to handle it. And I also see that the negative review may not be that negative. It's just like, yeah, they love the product. And that's what a lot of them are. A lot of the 3-star reviews, it's actually what you look at on Amazon, right? When you look at a 3-star or a 4-star review, you're anticipating like, okay, what's the bad thing? Is it actually bad, or is it something I can live with, right? Or is it, only bad to that person, or are they being too critical or whatever? You're looking for that kind of information. You're looking to prove that the 3-star is still good enough for you to buy the product. You're not looking to say, oh, no, I don't want it. And what Mariana is talking about, by responding to the review as a public comment on the review, it shows that, oh yeah, hey, things happen, whatever. The company fixed it. They were very prompt. They addressed it professionally. They made the customer feel valued. That's how I'm going to get treated when I buy my product.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we talked about bad reviews. We talked about no reviews. And obviously we talked about how having a perfect 5-star rating doesn't actually benefit you at all either. And we actually have a couple clients that are borderline 5-star. It was a big effort to get them down to a 4.9. But the reality is they convert better at 4.9 than they ever did at 5.0, right?
Yeah, sure. It seems much more realistic, right? Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it seems like only your family and friends reviewed it.
Yeah, or that you're like, man, they're hiding all their bad reviews. No store doesn't get so, and then that's a trust breaker right there. It's like, hey, if they're not even going to show the bad reviews, what are they hiding? And then that makes the customer just even more unlikely to buy.
Right.
Okay, Mariana, let's kind of take it from the top now. Let's kind of go in and why don't you walk us through the perfect way to implement reviews on an e-commerce store, specifically say a Shopify store?
So on the homepage, of course, should provide social proof like reviews and ratings, and they should be real, of course, and they should be complete. So there should be the comment that the reviewer made about the specific product or service, the date of that review, the name and the nickname of that customer, and the location, and also a picture of the product if that's possible. So if you're displaying products, like say your best-selling products on the homepage, which I highly recommend, you should have the review stars and the number of reviews below the product titles, and they should be clickable. So once that's clicked, you can either open a tooltip that will show the reviews from that specific product, or you can take them to the review section on the product page. If you choose the second one, just make sure that it's a smooth scroll. Just people don't want to be surprised and not understand where they were taken from. So yeah, make sure they understand they're going to the product page, to the review section. So the scroll should be smooth. And on the category pages, same thing.
Mariana, let's go back to the homepage for a sec. So what you had just mentioned was having, like if you're displaying your best-selling products, having the review function or the review stars and stuff clickable below the best-selling products. Now, but there's another question. We see a lot of people adding like review sliders or, testimonial collages to the homepage that are either static or motion-based or whatever. What's your stance on that?
Yeah, you can have like the static reviews as well about, let's say, the company and overall reviews, or about specific products as well, but make sure they're static because people like to be in control. So if it's just auto scrolling or something, it might confuse them and annoy them. So make sure that if you have more reviews, then you can show on the page that you add arrows, or that they are displayed in a way people can control it.
Perfect. Okay. And then is there like a sweet spot in terms of how many or how few or how they should put on the homepage?
Well, if you when we talk about the social proof section, you can use, let's say, 4 reviews or so. We don't want a huge section of that, but the most important ones should be displayed on the homepage, definitely.
And then have them click off to go to see more, right?
Mm-hmm.
To the main
review
function.
Right.
Okay. All right. So that's the homepage. Now you said the category page.
So on the category pages, same thing. We should have the review stars and the number of reviews right below the product titles. They should also be clickable, and once they're clicked, users should see all the reviews from that specific product. And on the product pages, you got to make sure that the app allows sorting, searching, and filtering the reviews once you have a bigger number of reviews, right? If you have, like, let's say 3 reviews, it doesn't make sense to filter them. But once you have a big number, make sure you pay attention to that. And also, it should have a rating summary chart as well, where you can see filter by the number of stars. So let's say 3 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars, so people can go straight to the rating they want. And also, the app should ask for information from the customer, so the name, the nickname, and also provide a numeric representation of the average of the rating, and not just the stars, so people can see exactly what's the rating. And also make sure you have the information of what was the product variant they got. So if it's a red t-shirt, medium size, it should be there, so they know exactly what's being reviewed. And also adding a verified purchase information, so they know that it's not fake. And also, once you have a big number of reviews, you should consider allowing users to filter the reviews by the product variation and the photo availability as well. So they can see how the product actually looks once customers get it, and it can really help them decide to purchase it or not.
Now, Mariana just went through, guys, is a whole list. You're probably like, whoa, that's a lot of things to allow for reviews. And it is. But reviews have been proven that the people who engage with the review functionality on the page and using the filtering, they convert at a massively higher rate than people who don't interact with the review functionality, as well as they tend to spend a lot more money. So they're on the higher end of your average order value. But with that, that is the other reason why we don't recommend using the built-in review functionality on a theme, because it does not allow for the type of stuff that Mariana is talking about, to be able to do the numeric representation, the filter by stars, the searching of the reviews, the verified purchase, all those different things. You got to have a dedicated review app to be able to do that. And not all review apps are created equal. We've tested all of them, and we continue to test the new ones when they come out. And we clearly have our favorites and stuff, which I'll ask Mariana about that in a second. But just realize that your built-in theme functionality will not do that. And if just by having reviews on your page, it's basically like taking your reviews and putting them on steroids by giving them this extra functionality. And you want that because it can make a massive, massive difference in your business. Everything Mariana just said is things that we figured out after tons and tons and tons and tons of testing. Also, if you don't have it yet, the new version of eCommerce Evolved, which you can get for free at ecommerceevolvedbook.com, has an entire section on everything Mariana is talking about with screenshots and breakdowns and all the different category type stuff you need to do for your reviews. Okay, that's only in like chapter 2 of this book. So if you don't have that yet, go to ecommerceevolvedbook.com and you can grab a copy. But moving on, Mariana, what about how they implement this? What do we talk about? What kind of apps do we like? What do we recommend for this kind of process?
So Stamped is the one that is the most recommended by far for most of our clients.
So that's stamped.io, right?
Right. Also, Yotpo, Judge Me, and a lot of people use Looks as well. The thing is, you got to make sure that the app allows these functionalities to be covered, and then you can choose the best app based on pricing and other features, but make sure that it allows being customized like we're talking about.
Now, with the apps, guys, they're all over the place, and a lot of them have a lot of the same features and functionalities. Like Yotpo is one of the biggest guys in the game. They've been a great review company for a long time. They're very expensive, and a lot of their competitors have come out and are doing more, or at the very least the same as what Yotpo is offering for less money. Does that mean Yotpo is not great? No, they've got a lot of other really cool things that they can do as well. But then you've got companies like Stamped.io that now do reviews, and they have a loyalty, a rewards type program that you can roll out as well and have it all integrated. So there's a lot of different features there that are great. We're not getting paid to tell you which app we like or whatever. This one happens to be the one that we use the most. But Stamped, Looks, and Judge.me are probably the 3 best that we see in the BGS world. Current favorite is Stamped, but if you have another review app company that you're using, we're not saying get away from them. Just implement what Mariana is saying and only consider switching for some reason if you can't do what you need to do within that app. Okay, a lot of them allow for most of what we're talking about here, if not all.
Right.
So another area, Mariana, that I wanted to ask you about, and this is, it's something that we used to preach all the time, but I want to hear what your updated knowledge is on this, is reviews in the cart or review and or in the checkout. What's the current best practices there?
So that's something very contextual. It can be a huge win for some stores, but it can be just cognitive load for others. So that's something I recommend testing, because the thing is, once you're in the cart step, you want users to proceed to checkout, right? There's not much we want them to do besides moving forward on the purchasing flow. So we don't want any distracting elements that would keep them from moving forward. So before adding anything like the reviews, make sure that they are available for your audience. So that's something I definitely recommend testing.
Yeah, and guys, that's something we used to, even a couple of years ago, would say, hey, you always got to have like 2 or 3 good reviews in the cart, or 2 reviews in the checkout underneath on the right side of the checkout. And it's just not the case anymore. There's some stores that perform better with it and some stores that perform worse with it, like Mariana said. So when we say contextual, that basically means that it's going to depend on your store. It's one of those things that there's no hard and firm answer on. You just have to test it. And the other thing you have to test is it may not be that reviews don't work. It may be that the reviews you used don't work, which is another thing. You could put 3 reviews that you think are amazing and they don't work, and then you remove it and only have 1 review that works, or it may be 3 separate reviews that work better. So you have to test different combinations until you figure it out. You can't rule it out with just saying, well, I tried 3 reviews and it didn't work, or I tried 4 reviews. One thing that Matt and I did find in our testing early on was that anything more than 3 in the cart or even on the checkout didn't do you any good. There was diminishing returns. So it actually became more cognitive load at that point. So, and they also needed to be short, punchy reviews, not ones that really had to be detailed or consumed like with a lot of focus. Because again, as Mariana said, we're not trying to distract them in the cart. We're trying to move them on. So we don't want to create a problem there. But again, like she said, you got to test this.
Right. Just a few other considerations about reviews. So if you're offering any benefits to the reviewer, let's say you have a points program and you're offering 50 points for people who review it, that's something nice to put on the actual review because users appreciate the honesty of the brand, right? So that's not going to make like the review is fake or something. It's an extra thing to believe the review because it's like, okay, I'm getting the points anyway if I say a bad review or a good thing, a bad thing. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And also users should be able to vote if the review was helpful or not, because based on that, you can make the most relevant reviews, the most helpful ones, more visible on your product page. And that can really help people decide whether to purchase or not. And also, of course, the review stars below the title on the product pages should be clickable as well. And you shouldn't hide the reviews behind the reviews tab only. You can have a tab if that works for your store. Just make sure that was tested, but you should have the actual review section below the description on product pages as well. So don't make it hard to find. Make sure people can easily see the reviews once they land on the product page. And the last thing, there's it doesn't make sense to offer the option to share the review on social media. So if we're not going to share something that someone else wrote about a random product. So that's just extra cognitive load. Besides that, people can get distracted and they just go to social media and forget about your website. And you made a lot of effort to make them be there. So just make sure you don't waste it. Good
point. Yeah, that was great. And, guys, the other thing that I've noticed a lot especially in like the fashion or more artsy fartsy type of websites, no detraction from them, but I just think it's fun to say, artsy fartsy. But we've seen a lot of those websites that are very stylistic. A lot of them have been removing reviews from their website completely because it's more austere or clean or minimalist or whatever. And some bigger brands are doing it. It's not because they've tested it. It's literally being done by someone who's doing the design, the mock-up, the layouts. And we know from tons and tons of testing that this loses. So if you see a site, that had reviews no longer showing reviews, don't jump on the bandwagon just because, oh man, that's so stylish, or that's so cool, or that's so hip, or whatever. We actually just reviewed a very large company that's doing that, and they finally turned their reviews back on, even though their brand guidelines said they wanted it to be more clean, and they saw a massive lift again in their performance, where before they were losing money because they didn't realize that it was making that big of a difference. So anyway, that's a great little wrap up on reviews. Mariana, thank you so much for being here. Guys, what I need you to do right now is make sure you're subscribed. Okay. buildgrowscale.com/podcast is where you can get the show notes, the video podcast. You can get all the links to the different platforms we're on. You can get all the show notes as well and see all of our past episodes and everything else. And then finally, leave us a review on whatever platform you're on. Leave us a review. Tell us what you think. Leave a comment on the YouTube videos, whatever. We love to hear from you guys. We'd like to know what you think. We like to have the ideas that you give us for future episodes or guests or things like that. Because again, guys, this podcast is for you. And with that, we're going to wrap this up. We will see you in the next episode. Thanks for being here. And remember, buildgrowscale.com/podcast. See ya.